Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I am here at the News Forum studios, and it is a pleasure to have you with us today as well. It's a pleasure also to do a 2023 roundup with Thomas Caldwell. He is the chairman of Caldwell Securities Ltd. In Toronto. Tom, it's been quite a year. Welcome.
Thank you. Yes, it has been.
So give us your highs and lows of 2023. Let's start with that.
Well, it was what is the Chinese greeting? I hope you have an interesting life. It was an interesting year. We really had all the horsemen of the apocalypse present this year. I mean, everything you can possibly imagine, and plus, it was a year that had increasing interest rates from an economic point of view. We had geopolitical upheavals and tragedies in both the Ukraine and the Middle East. Unspeakable acts, basically. We've had societal divisions still going on. In fact, I think many of our leaders foster these in an effort to get voting, but that's another topic. But we've had divisions, we've had a lot of upset, a lot of loss of confidence in the institutions of our country, in governments in particular, in many of the agencies. We find ourselves buried in rules. Everybody wants to change how we all live. Again, not to get into the climate change debate, but that's underpinning so many other changes in the economy. Canada, of course, has not been a business-friendly or economic-friendly environment over the past year.
Right.
America to a lesser degree. But if you take a look at all of the negatives thrown in here, it was a relatively positive year for capital markets and in the economy. I mean, the U.S. economy has done reasonably well. Unemployment, relatively low. Not so good in Canada, but still not, shabby kind of thing. We're being dragged in the coattails of the U.S. So with all of the tragedy going on in the world and all the concerns and fears, it has not been a bad year. I mean, I look at the pools of capital. I don't look at the market. The market did quite well because you had a lot of the Amazons, the Teslas, the Microsofts, the usual ones pulling the market. That's where the strength has been in the market.
Right.
But if I look at the pools of capital I run, which are quite conservative, the biggest pool I run is Urbana Corporation. We're up about 20% on the year. So it hasn't been a bad year all in. You just had to use your brain and not get emotionally trapped into all the turmoil and negativity out there.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about this, because I would have thought that typically the market, there may be a lag period, but the market would represent the psychology of the people. And I would agree with you that people are feeling pretty down about the economy and about the cost of living and about the geopolitical risks. And yet the market isn't reflecting that. So how do we reconcile that?
Well, first off, people use the word the market or the economy. It's not homogeneous. There's all
Right.
kinds of components within that market. Clearly, there are many, many people out there, and probably the mass of people, having a tough time with inflation, cost of living, job insecurity. Even see bigger companies, banks, etc., cutting people off, letting people go. I got off the streetcar the other day in St. Clair by Timothy Eaton Church, and this big lineup was going around the corner. And my first thought was, if I missed a voting day, maybe there's an election on of some kind. I try to ignore these things,
Right.
but it wasn't. It was the food bank.
Right.
And another one at the Church of the Messiah on Avenue Road in DuPont. Again, driving to work some mornings, there's this tremendous lineup. I'm talking hundreds of people. Now, okay, some of them might be gaming the system, but a lot of people, you're dealing in real need. So there is a tremendous component of the economy that is not doing well.
Right.
And that doesn't reflect in stock markets per se. What does reflect in stock markets is the supply of money and the supply of opportunities. There's a lot of money floating around still in the system. There's a lot of money having been made. There is a dichotomy in both societies, America and in the US. So there's a lot of money looking for opportunities, particularly in this narrow sector that I mentioned earlier. So you can have a market going up, but the economy is sort of falling behind. Like Canada, for example, I believe is going to have some significant problems because
Right.
you can't have an economy continue on in a hostile environment. And we are not seen as a destination where big money wants to invest. So that eventually will follow through.
Yeah, let's unpack that. We're going to take a little break. Obviously, there's a lot more to discuss in the segments that will come after this, but we'll have a little pause for our message, and we'll see you after our ads. Thank you very much.